This is OotiniCast, episode 464, being recorded episode 460, the 9th of May, 2023. And let's see. So let me go ahead and... Actually, I can't tweet it out. Can you tweet it out, Kitty? I'll explain why. My phone is actually purposefully not in the room with me this time. And the reason is my mom had some emergency eye surgery today. She had a detached retina, which could lead to blindness. It's one of those things that if you don't... It was actually emergency surgery. Like, if you don't do it right away, the retina detaches and then it can't be reattached and you're just blind in that eye. So, but fortunately, she noticed something weird happened yesterday and she got it looked at right away. And then had emergency surgery today. And fortunately, it had not detached too much over the course of that day. So yeah, but and things went well. She's recovering and she's at home. She's resting, blah, blah, blah. But just in case they want to get hold of us, I have my phone with my wife and she is going to watch the phone for me and I don't have to worry about it during the show. So that is that. But that also means I can't tweet it out at the moment because I don't have the right things set up on my computer for that at the moment. So anyway, all right. So you've got that taken care of. We've got the stream going. And yes, this is episode 464. This is the raw version of the show going out with any flubs, flaws, and whatever all intact. And then we will clean up the audio and put that out as a podcast tomorrow. The raw version, the raw video version will also go out as a YouTube video, and we'll do that later tonight. And all right. Done. So we've got... let's see, let's get to the top of the show notes. And yeah, it's after the top of the hour, so we can get going anytime.
Let's do it.
All right. I had a little water, and I managed not to choke on it. I'm still thinking about that. That was like 6 episodes ago or something like that. But it was really so funny. Extreme that, it was so extreme that I just, every time I drink right before I talk right now, I have to be extra careful because I don't want that to happen again.
It's a learning experience.
That's
That's what it is.
Who'd think you need to learn how to drink and talk when
Trust
you're
me.
over 50, but yeah. All right. So, if we're good to go, then let's get going.
Ready.
Going in 5. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast. Hands off the monkey lizard. This is episode 464, being recorded on Tuesday, May 9th, 2023. I'm your host, Jill, and with me is my co-host, KittyKissz. Hey, Kitty.
Hey, Jill.
And no guests today, but we are hoping to have a special guest very, very soon. We're not really willing to talk about it quite yet, but sort of watch this space. We'll hint at it once or twice more, I'm sure, but we can't say anything quite yet. Just because, it would suck if something happened and then we weren't able to make it happen. So for now, we'll just say that today it's me and Kitty, and let's see what you've been up to since last show, Kitty.
Well, I would like to say to you, Jill, that was a great tease.
Thank you. I teased the hell out of it. I was pumping that gas pretty hard.
Well done. Okay, I've been playing my Imperial Agent, my cosplay with Jackie Daytona from What We Do in the Shadows.
Nice.
And he's a shadow. Oh, wait, not a shadow. He's an operative.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the operative. I think it's concealment. It's super fun. And I just took his second class and I made him Arsenal. And last time I did that, I started off as Arsenal, and then halfway through the story I switched to Agent.
Okay.
And never touched Arsenal again. So I'm curious if I'm going to be able to, if I'm even going to go to Arsenal. And the reason why I switched is I want something with good AoE DPS. And I mean, Arsenal's great. And it's fun to do, fun to play. I was going to go sniper, but I think I wore sniper out. It was my main for a long time when I first started doing operations and stuff.
Right.
And then I changed and went to Arsenal, and Arsenal's a little bit more fun for me. It's kind of like it's a lot more mobile, even though, sharpshooter is pretty mobile. You do have to pop down and start, blasting stuff out, but you need to get up and move around in order to get those cooldowns to reset and all that stuff. So, but I went Arsenal, looking forward to playing it. And Jackie Daytona he's doing great. Every once in a while, someone will come in and they'll just come into the stream going, okay, I saw Jackie Daytona and had to come in and look. And it's so special because it's a deep cut for a reference. So, but people will come in and they're like, yeah. And I'm like, Jackie Daytona.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Regular human agent. But so,
That's
he's
awesome.
a vampire, so he always treats everybody like crap. I'm romancing Cleo.
Okay.
And,
is that a first time for you? Or
Nope. Been a long time. Someone asked me today, hey, how is the Cleo romance? And I went, difficult.
Yeah. Which you'd expect with someone someone is sort of antisocial, or I'm not sure exactly the right phrase for it, but
egotistical and psychotic.
Something it's what some of those and a few others, I'm sure.
Yeah. But it's
why we like
interesting
her, right?
to see it, and there's something to be said about despising a companion. It just says, hey, good job on the actor. So and I did it a while and I wanted to try it, so it's fun. It's fun. And it's crazy because people in chat are constantly going, God, I hate her. And I'm like, she's the worst. But it's funny. It's fun. Let's see. I played some Jedi Survivor over the weekend.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I saw that you were doing that.
Yeah, it was the first new title, like a 2023 game that I played in a long time. And
nice.
Besides, the graphics being stellar, that game is really, really well put together. The acting is fantastic. The platforming is fun. That's a statement that I never thought I'd say in my lifetime, but it's fun. It's a great game. If you're thinking about getting it, I'd say go pick it up. It's cool. Really, really cool. And I'm looking forward to, getting more into it, but I gotta do some adjustments because it's really hitting my GPU really hard.
Is it?
And yeah, it was running at 98%. So I played for a while. I'm like, okay, I gotta
smoking that system.
I'm like, but it's really fun. It's really
that's great.
Fun. I recommend checking it out. And last but not least, Kitty and I, for the 4th, may the 4th be with you, through Sunday, we did a fundraiser, and for Cure Rare Disease, they sought us out and asked us if we wanted to do it. And it was a great cause, and we were like, hell yeah, we totally do it.
Yeah.
And we ended up raising $1,171 over those 4 days.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thanks. I wanted to thank the community that came out, and they were so generous and so awesome. And I know that you always hear streamers go, we have the best community ever, but we got the best community ever. You guys are so fantastic. And I wanted to say thank you again. And with our contribution and the other streamers that were also streaming for the cause, raised over $10,000 over the 4 days. So
that's amazing.
Thank you guys again. You are the best. We love you very, very much. And that's about it.
All right.
It for me, Chill.
Sounds good. Let's see who Twitch thinks is in the chat room, which is not the same as who's actually in the chat room. Right. 01L is showing 152 Domino, LAC Dre, Antol 2765, Drapsnat, Fox Snipey 90, Jedi Knight 1, Kata, Kitty Treats is here, Retox Detox is here, Shadabova and Squishy Twitch, you're all here. Hey, everyone. Let's see. So... yeah, but I made a Silver Sable character. She's a character. She's not the most well-known character in the world, but she is a Marvel character in the sort of mostly in the Spider-Man sort of. She runs in that circuit most of the time, and she's basically she's not superhero. She's like a mercenary, just like a very well-trained, mercenary, good at martial arts and use of weapons and blah 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 blah. And she's also really well known for leading, like being an excellent leader. So she actually heads up like a whole like mercenary army and blah 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 blah. And she has a cool look. Like she has like long white hair and she wears all white as well. So it's like she has a very like specific look to her. Decided to make her and the reason I settled on her specifically is because I wanted to do this combination, which is make a sniper trooper. In other words, leading Havoc Squad but as a sniper. In other words, having the character kind of sit back, mark the targets and sort of lead the battlefield while the other members of Havoc would be actually, going in and doing the fighting and whatever.
That's a really cool idea.
Yeah,
I like that.
And it worked really well. I think thematically it worked really well. And I had that sort of same thing happen to you too. Someone came into my chat and said, "Hey, Silver Sable."
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, he said, "I loved her. I made a Silver Sable sniper a while back too." So yeah, that was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Double XP made it go really fast. She's now 80 and she's halfway through Rishi, and I'm not sure if I'll even touch her again for a while, but it was fun. We just burned right through it. Did a little bit of PvP during those 2 weeks and some Galactic Season stuff, but mostly just leveled up and had fun with that. Like always, whenever I do a sniper or a gunslinger, I had issues with the cover mechanic. There's just there's just too many times when it seems to go into cover and then it doesn't go into cover, and you can't actually use cover abilities and you don't get the cover bonuses, and it just bothers me. It's like it's not the end of the world, and it's like you can sort of work around it, and the more you do it, the more you know like what to avoid and blah 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 blah. But yeah, just if you try to go into cover off of your mount, that's almost always going to bug. If your character is between, like if there's like a crack in the sidewalk that's too wide, it'll consider you to not be able to go into cover. It's like crazy. It's just, and it just sort of, and sometimes it's almost random when it happens. So it's just not my favorite mechanic because of that, which is too bad because I actually do like the actual spec. Other than that, I really love the follow through mechanic, especially. It's one of the most unique ones, and it gives us a cool rhythm where it's like snipe, follow through. Series of shots, follow through, and takedown, follow through, bop, 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 bop. Yeah.
Are you using the roll to cover, or are you just using stationary cover?
I've used both in the past, and this time I actually made roll into cover my default because I think it's fun. It doesn't seem to help any in terms of like how often it bugs out or not. Oddly, like sometimes it'll roll and it'll like halfway roll and then stop, and then sometimes it will be in cover when it halfway goes to its cover location, and sometimes it won't. So that's rolling into cover is not really all that helpful either, but but sitting in if you sit down, sometimes that helps a little bit in terms of the bugginess. But anyway, I still thought it was fun. It was a really fun character to make, and but yeah, she's 80. It's super fast, so super fast.
How long did you play her before she hit 80?
I mean, inside it was like a week and a day. I mean, I made her like right at the beginning of Double XP, and then she dinged 80 today, and it's Wednesday, so it's I guess it's technically 2 days, a week and 2 days. So yeah, it was really fast.
Really fast.
Yep. So I'm going the other way now. My next character, I just made him, but I haven't actually played him yet. He's just created, and I have to make his look and stuff. So I'm making a Deckard character from Blade Runner.
That's awesome.
And so there's going to be 3 things about him. One of them is the opposite of hardcover. I'm not going to allow him to hardcast. So not only is he not going to use cover, he's not going to hardcast at all. So he has to use either things that are either instant or can cast on the move. And there's not a lot. There's not a lot of cast on the move. There's one thing that I'll be able to choose when he's like 51 or something like that. There's like a choice you can make, so that the blazing bolts or whatever it's going to be end up called is is castable on the move. But mostly it's going to be instants, and and we're not going to hard cast at all. But he has like the thing that allows the gravity or whatever it's called to actually be cast instantly, so he will sometimes be able to use that ability because it's kind of an important ability in the spec. And the other one is the fusion missile, but I can only do the fusion missile when the other ability is up, which is the one that allows you to cast instantly, once like a minute. It's like a minute cooldown, so it's gonna be it's gonna be a little fussy because of that, but I'm looking forward to it. And it's like, and I'll basically be able to run the whole time. Like I'll be able to move the entire time I'm playing him, which is gonna be fun for me because like I got so tired of turreting after a while. And so that's one thing. The other thing is I'm decided he's not going to have any companion help, so the companion will be on passive. Wow. Yeah, that always makes it harder. But the third thing is going to make it hard, and that is he's going to be the next hardcore character. So if he dies, he's done. So I got to be really careful. Yeah, permadeath character. So
does that include PvP?
Well, I'm not going to do any PvP, believe me. Yeah, maybe if I get him to 80 and he survived, then I might, then maybe that rule relaxes. But we want to get him at least all the way through 80 without dying. So, and this the last time I did it was another Harrison Ford character because I did it as a Han Solo character. But this was quite a while ago. This was like probably 4 years ago or 5 years ago or something like that. And I made a Han Solo character, and he died on Vos as a smuggler.
Oh, geez, that's pretty far.
Yeah. And it was the end. It was in the Dark Heart. And what happened was if you're on that story, there's like this really weird fight where you go in and then there's like several fights in a row. And then, and then one of them hits really hard and has like some CC and stuff. And I didn't respect it. And he died. So, it's going to be tired. And I won't have any and this time, I'm doing it as a, and I know Deckard only uses one gun, but I'm doing it as a merc, abilities. Yeah.
And there's that Blade Runner gun in the game now too.
Yeah, I know.
Model after it.
I might do that one. I already have the other one that's very, very similar that looks almost identical to it too. So I think I'm probably going to use that one because I already have it unlocked, and it's another like really expensive platinum level one. So we're going to go with that one, just because. Deckard only uses one gun, but the problem is the one gun specs in the game are all short range, and the whole idea for this is I wanted a longer range, like be like a sniper, have the long range, but be mobile. So we're going with the merc abilities. So we get the double pistol going. It's gonna be fun. So one and done. I'll have to keep him alive, and we'll see if we can get him to 80 without dying for sure. No companion help. So companion has to be on passive. So that's going to be tough too. He eventually will have.
That's going to be really tough.
It's going to be really tough. He will eventually have some pretty good cooldowns, but even that doesn't guarantee that he's going to survive. It also means I'm going to have to be more careful because I'm sometimes very blasé about parkouring in the game. Just to it's like, oh, the next area is down this cliff. Great. Boing, boing, boing. Oh, I died. Not going to happen this time. I'll have to be way more careful. But yeah.
What happens if you get stuck?
I don't know. Well, hopefully I will be out of combat because if you're in combat and you /stuck, you die. If you're out of combat and you /stuck, usually it won't kill you. It'll just move you somewhere. That's another reason not to parkour, though, is because most of the times I get stuck in the game, it's because I'm going somewhere weird that you're not really meant to go. Yeah. So hopefully that'll work. So, but yeah, we'll do him as an agent. I was considering that between that and like a scoundrel or smuggler rather. But the last time I did this, like I said, the last time I did a Han Solo hardcore character, it was on the smuggler. So I decided to go, another way this time. We'll see it on the Empire side and see if there's any rough patches. I'm thinking what I'll probably do is actually make him like a like a biochemist as well, so that he will be able to use like adrenals and his own stim packs and just chug med packs because I won't have a companion to heal, and and Arsenal's like off, or whatever it is called, is very off heals. Like it has some healing, but it's pretty mild, and it's not the kind that's gonna let you survive a tough fight. So cross fingers on that.
Well, also if you get the med packs from the droids, some of those med packs are really, really good, and you can use them throughout your entire leveling.
Yeah,
so you don't have to swap them up.
I might, and I do have crafters as well. So I don't really have to make him a biochemist, but I'm thinking I'm going to anyway, just to. Oh, okay. Just so that he can make his own med packs, and I won't have to like keep sending them to him.
Right.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to it, and of course, I haven't made his all look, but the character's made, and he does have, of course, the Harrison Ford scar, the chin scar.
Oh, right, nice. That's funny.
Deckard has that scar too, of course.
Deckard's got the scar.
Just like Han and Indy. I haven't made an Indy character yet. All right. Anyway, let's get to the tip of the week, and I have a tip for everyone, and it's about the Act Dog pet. We've sort of mentioned this, I think, a little bit, but I just wanted to kind of go into it a little more. So. It used to, and it still does, have special abilities, which you unlock when you got its affection. This is back in the day. Its affection up to 10. And it was on there was a companion page. So there's a vehicles page and a legacies page. And if you're a smuggler, or a sniper, you have a sniper page and whatever. There was a companion page. And that's also like, you could actually activate things from that page, and that's sort of how you would do the Act Dog things, because he has two tricks. He has like a speak and like a play dead trick. And so, but nowadays, like in Legacy of the Sith, there's no companion page. That's gone. So what happens? Where did these abilities go? Are they even active anymore? Well, they are. And what you do is you get the Act Dog, and you do raise its influence, which is a lot easier to get because it's just the delicacies. Act Dogs like delicacies really well. And you get it up to 5 and then 10, and then you'll get those abilities. But what they'll do is they'll show up as these special bars, like the same weird special bar that pops up sometimes, like if you for kick the hut ball, for certain other things in the game. When there's a special ability that's sort of like gameplay related, well, that's what'll happen. It'll show up as that sort of bar, and then you can make him speak and play dead, and it's all very fun. As far as I've known, I don't know of any other. I've gotten a couple of the other critter companions and plenty of the droid companions up in levels. And the Nexu has some.
The Nexu has
good
play dead, and I forgot what the other one is, but yeah, they come up on the little toolbar, special little toolbar there.
Yep. Excellent. Yeah. So that's how that works. And and it's still in the game, which is great. Because the Act Dog was like the first companion in the game pretty much, of its type. I think Treek was before that, but Act Dog was the first of like the kind where they do either critter or they do droid. And so it's still nice that those are still in the game. Definitely. All right. So if you have a tip of the week, please send it to OotiniCast@gmail.com before the next show for a chance to win a Tonfon M83R droid or M2B9 droid code, courtesy of BioWare, plus a 450cc code as well. And that'll bring us to the Mind Trap. And so let's see. So we had the dev stream, and that was just shortly after the last show, a little bit after the last show. So and so the Mind Trap was in regards to that. And the question was, what part of the dev stream most excited or interested you for the next show? And blah, 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 blah. Thank you for everyone for the retweets. We had a pretty good amount of votes for this time, 254 votes. And so the four options were Vos story and the characters, the new Flashpoint and the boss design, PvP changes, and the new items for the Vos cartel and more, because they actually had several categories of new items in the dev stream. We'll be going over some of the dev stream stuff a little bit later. Vos story and characters, one going away. It's like one of the most overwhelming polls we've ever done. 71.7% went with Vos story and characters. I did as well. How about you, Kitty?
Well, mine was kind of funny. I meant to hit Vos story and characters, but by the time I got to new items, I was like, ooh, new items. I just reflectively clicked it and it was too late. So,
so kind of both.
kind of both. Yeah.
That's funny. Well, new items was in second, 14.6%. New Flashpoint and / boss design was 10.6%. And only 3.1% were really excited, apparently, by the PvP changes. To be fair, the PvP changes were a little on the light side. So I think that sort of was mostly aimed at a sort of the hardcore players, PvP players, for the most part. All right. And most of the people who were going with it went along with the Vos ones as well. A couple of people were kind of upset. They weren't very excited by anything in this particular dev stream. And there's a couple of people who were upset because, like, apparently, and I didn't notice this during the stream, but I was, like always, when there's a dev stream, I'm like taking notes like a madman. So, although I did a couple things in the chat, that was sort of like the exception, and I didn't really notice. But apparently, some people were being banned, and they felt, and apparently, some people felt the ban hammer was coming down hard, especially for like. Questions about like nightmare mode or something like that. I think that was sort of the main thing that that at least apparently were being banned for. Now, whether they were being banned for that or not, I actually have no idea, but that was sort of like what was happening. So it looks like, I mean, the news story, always a crowd pleaser, and it certainly was this time.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to that. There were quite a few new items. The Vos and the Cartel and etc. actually also includes, like, there's going to be apparently a new item that we'll eventually be able to give out here on the OotiniCast and on your stream as well. So that'll be good once we have those. That's always.
Have you gone to Test Center yet?
I have not yet. I've been doing a lot of the double XP.
That's right.
I know it seems dumb, but yeah, I am. It'll be interesting to see. But when it comes to like the little story PTSs, I'm a little. I don't know. They're kind of avoiding a lot of the story too, but not all of it. There's a lot of the like the mission type stuff is actually in there. Mm-hmm. Just the cutscenes and some of the other stuff is not. So I'm always of two minds about that sort of thing. So, but I understand why they need it to be tested and everything like that. So I do try to do it, but I haven't done it yet.
I went and took a peek.
Nice.
And it looks great.
Yeah.
I didn't run any missions. I didn't do any of that.
Did you just go to the Vos area?
Yeah, I went to the Vos area.
Okay.
You do need to load in kind of exactly like the way that you do on Manon. It's on there's two different places that you can land on Vos now, just like on Manon. So make sure you go to the right one.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's really They've done that before.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Belsavis is like that too. Stuff like that. Sounds good. All right. So thank you everyone for responding to that. We always appreciate the retweets and reblogs. We do put it up on Mastodon as well. And so thank you very much. That'll bring us to the Cantina Talk. This is an occasional segment, which is also going to be, in this case, not complete. We're not going to actually do a Cantina Talk, but we are going to tease again. We are trying to put together something, and so watch this space. We're very excited about it. But, until it actually happens, we have to be a little on the cautious side. And
that's right.
But we're very excited, and we'll say that's enough for now. So let's go on to the Holo feed, and that's the news. So the dev stream was run mostly by Jackie Coe, with Eric Musco there almost all the time as well. They had a couple of pre-recorded videos from some of the other devs talking about other things. So so it's 7.3 is it's what's on the PTS right now anyway. That's what the test server is all about. It's called Old Wounds is going to be the name of it. It has some new and returning characters. We're going back to Vos. And so there's going to be a Flashpoint, Shrine of Silence. And it's going to be in multiple like levels. Like it sounds like there's going to be like solo and then the harder modes as well. They did a sneak peek of the Flashpoint boss designs. Let's see. Eric Musco. Actually, this is sort of the highlights, and then we'll kind of get into some of the details. Musco talked about how Flashpoint's doing two things. They've been trying to balance out what it does and why it works, and Flashpoints are sort of being a solo capstone. Like, in other words, like you'd do your solo story and then sometimes it would end with a flashpoint, and that's sort of like the big story moment. But then it also has to be good at being grouped content, and sometimes those things are at odds. And so they're trying to figure out the best ways to figure out when to include a flashpoint as part of the story and solo story, and then also potentially not have it be more of an optional thing, kind of like the way operations are. They've always made operations where there's some story in operations, but it's not necessarily the main part of the story. It's something that you can enjoy, but if you don't see it because you're doing solo stuff or just non-operation stuff, you won't completely be lost when the story picks up again. Right, so for Shrine of Silence, it has to have narrative but not be too solo specific. So like I said, they're sort of getting away from the idea that the flashpoint really needs to be part of the main solo story. There's going to be some PvP updates, and we'll go over those as well. Credit inflation changes, that's coming up as well, and that's being tested on the PTS as we speak. And then there was a sneak peek for cartel market items and so on. The nightlife event is returning, so that's really cool. There's some new rewards there as well. I always just like it. Usually I end up doing some PvP, like I do a PvP leveling sort of thing, and then I just run around the casino while I'm waiting for the next pop and stuff like that. We did
that a little.
We did that as a duo thing too. Yeah,
and that just doesn't seem like a year ago.
No,
doesn't that seem like it was 2 months ago?
It wasn't. It does feel like it wasn't long ago. Yeah.
Oh, that's too fast.
Yep. So we had May the 4th also. That's some of it's already passed, but there's other stuff that is still ongoing. And then there is the Lots Sahar's redeem code, LOTSSAHAR. If you go to your swotor.com and go into your account and put in LOTSSAHAR in the redeem code, then every character will get mailed a deco. It's of Sahar as a poster on the wall that you can put on the wall. And and it's actually a pretty good one too. She's in sort of an action pose, and cool. she's got the Datacron that everyone's trying to figure out what the hell's going on with it in her hand. It's all good. Ashley Rule, the narrative director, and Caitlin Sullivan Kelly, the lead writer, then talked about the Old Wound storyline and the Vos Flashpoint storyline. We're going to avoid spoilers. They pretty well avoided spoilers too. Just let us know basically that this is the story going back to Malgus. In other words, we've done some other things with Mandalorians and some other things going on. Now we're going back to the Malgus storyline. Allies searching for clues. We are going to see Shae Vizsla and also Sonore and possibly Arkin if you sent them on that particular mission, but you had a choice not to. They returned to share what they found. There's actually going to be a return of Torian if he's still alive, which for 90% of my characters is not true. I almost always go with Vet.
No one has Torian. No one's ever gonna see it.
I'm literally I don't know if I'm gonna have to see it, watch it on a YouTube video or make a character or figure out who actually go to everyone who's over a certain level and see if Vet or Torian is showing as the active companion.
I think I've done it once.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to check.
I almost always say Vet. Torian's a Mandalorian. Vet's just a gal. She's just a sweet pirate gal. She's a sweet pirate. Anyway, so the Shrine Restoration Initiative is part of it as well. So the shrine being, the one that you go through on that last flashpoint, where you have to fight Malgus at the end, and the shrine has been all kind of destroyed, and they're kind of looking at sort of remaking it and stuff like that. And you're also helping Vos and Gormak rebuild. Where's the Shrine Restoration part of that too? I think both it's actually kind of going on. But anyway, they're trying to figure out about the shrine that Malgus was was stealing from or whatever. But there's another shrine that's sort of being worked on too, which is the Vos got destroyed basically in Kotet, which kind of spoilery, but I mean, this is from Kota. This is from 5 years ago or 6 years ago or something like that. Yeah. The Internal Empire essentially just wrecked the whole northern chunk of Vos Ka, and they're trying to rebuild it. So There's some new characters. I don't think I'll go into the new characters. That really does get spoilery at that point. There's going to be a bunch of Vos Decos, which is really cool. Makes sense as well. So there's going to be like a bench, some hanging lanterns, plant vases, a fire bowl, which is basically like a big
brazier.
Yeah, big urn sort of looking thing with a fire coming out the top. I
like that fire
one.
Bowl.
Fire bowl. Yeah, it's a great name. Shrine of Lights and the giant tree.
They have that rock and roll bowling where it says black light. They should have fire bowl where you dip your bowling ball in like kerosene and.
And I like the giant tree, actually. That looked really cool because, like, it really looked... it's a little hard to tell from the one picture we saw, but it looked to be pretty big. Like, it looked to be good size. So I think it's going to be interesting to see, like, how big they make this Vos tree deco for sure.
I don't remember that. I'm going to have to look it up.
There's actually going to be 16 sets of armor that you can get, which is pretty amazing. Basically, it's designed around different classes. So assassin, commando, guardian, gunslinger, like not the base classes, but even like the specific classes, the subclasses and stuff like that. So yeah. And I liked the trooper armor because it was really kind of an interesting idea where it was more or less one of the normal trooper looks, but then it had like the Vos sort of symbols and other sort of decorations on them. I thought that was a really nice touch. That was one of my favorites. Did any of the armor stand out to you, Kitty, that you can remember?
I didn't. Some of them looked pretty cool. Like the commando one I thought looked really good.
Yeah, that's the one I liked
too. I mean, for me, you have to get them all because nightmare mode space Barbie.
Right, you're going to use them all at some point.
Well, there's one, one might have one component that I want.
Exactly.
So I got to get them all so I can unlock it. So if I ever want it in the future.
Right. It's like if you ever want that particular belt with just the right pouch or whatever.
Yeah. My new thing is cod pieces. I'm trying to find cod pieces.
Really?
Because Laszlo.
That's so funny.
He always has like cod piece.
Huh. Wow. Okay. That's funny.
They're out there.
Yeah. I think it's almost sort of accidental though, isn't it? It's like, it's where the armor just sort of comes together in a weird way and it looks a little cod piecey, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So some of the triumvirate, have you tried that one out? The triumvirate outfits?
No, I got there and I kind of didn't, I couldn't really find where they were. So I kind of wanted to keep it, unspoiled.
Right.
So I gave it a glance, but I didn't go into detail.
Nice.
I didn't see any cod pieces, so I moved on.
Moved on, yeah. All right, and let's see. Then Daniel Seferati, the encounter designer, went up and talked about some of the boss designs. I don't want to go too much into it, but it looked like they were having some fun with the designs, like some donut targeting where the damage was coming in rings as opposed to more usual sort of like lines and angles and stuff like that. Usually it's either circles or it's a straight line or sometimes it's like a pie shape. But in this case, it looks like it's going to be a ring. So you're going to have to decide, is it more dangerous for me to go in or out or what works best?
That's cool.
There's going to be more rings on master mode, which is interesting because it might be really tricky there. But yeah, that'll be fun. And then the other one was sort of like this really cool, creepy, tentacular boss design, but they were more like tree roots rather than true tentacles. It felt, it was pretty cool. Apparently,
they're the Dengare in the new books. There's a plant monster, and that's like one of the big bad guys in the universe, and it kind of reminds me of that.
I wonder if they're drawing from that or not.
It could be because it looks very similar to it.
But also like it's not completely unknown to Vos itself as well, because like we had the whole Selma Core thing. If you've done several of the stories touch on Selma Core, which is like the evil at the heart of the dark heart of Vos. Yeah. And it's sort of one of the reasons why that whole part of Vos has gone crazy and like apparently, like, it's even has more to do with like why the Vos and Gormak have been such ancient enemies and stuff like that too. Like, it's an ancient evil that's been around a long time,
right?
And whenever you actually see Velmacor or that sort of area, there are sort of like a lot of sort of twisted tree root looking areas like that too.
Yeah,
so
cool.
It might be, I don't know if it's related to Selmacor. I know in one, apparently Selmacor dies, but maybe not, or maybe that's not, maybe that choice is not considered canon. I'm not sure. But, or maybe Selmacor wasn't actually killed, or maybe there's another evil entity there too. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, it looked like the picture they showed was really cool though. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, it looks really
little
cool.
Cthulhu-ish, little Cthulhu-esque as well. Let's see, and then Eric and Shabir went over some of the PvP changes. So they already changed a couple, like a couple of the war zones to sort of increase the amount of points you can get for offense and defense, especially. And also they lowered it from 8 to 7 to make it a little bit easier, because certainly I was having problems, but a lot of people were having problems. It wasn't, believe me, it wasn't just me. So yeah, they're trying to make it so it's a little bit more easy to do it without like imbalancing it, because it's already a little bit easier for like tanks and healers to sort of get some of these ones. If you're a pure DPS, you have no protection points, you have no healing points, or it's very hard to anyway in most cases, and so you're just going to get it off of DPS and then whatever's in the whatever's natural to the war zone, so offensive points and defensive points and stuff like that. And because of that, that's sort of where they're putting their focus, so that it's not throwing that out of whack any more than it already is. So they're going to change Void Star, so you'll get points for defeating players near doors, increase the defender points when you're guarding doors, which is good. Novar Coast, defeating players and successfully guarding near objectives will give more points. Or give points in some cases. Hut Ball, defeating players near end zones, like near your own end zone is what I think what they were mostly talking about. Defeating the ball carrier in general will give more points, and then also the entire team will be rewarded when the team scores, which is good, because I have noticed like you can be doing pretty good in terms of numbers, and like you're killing the enemy so that the rest of your team can be scoring, but they're getting, the ones who are throwing the ball or running the ball into the end zone are the ones that are actually getting all the those medals. So
yeah, exactly.
There'll be a little bit more of a entire team reward when the team scores. So
which is cool,
because it does feel bad. Like especially Hut Ball. Like I've definitely won a bunch of Hut Balls over the last few weeks and not gotten 7 medals out of it. So and that doesn't feel good. So, I mean, it's one thing if your team gets wiped or whatever, or you're just not playing right, or whatever. But when your team's actually winning and you're doing good damage and whatever, and you still don't get those, and you still don't get to 7 medals, it feels pretty bad.
That's rough.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. PvP Season 3 is going to be out on July 18th, so that's coming out pretty quick. So there's going to be, I know, there's going to be a little downtime. There's more than a month, I think, still in the current season, and then it's going to be down just a few weeks, and then up July 18th. So yeah, and they previewed the Sandstorm Soldier armor set, and to me it looked like it has a sort of like demonic samurai look. It's really cool looking.
I think it looks cool too.
Yeah, they've done a couple of samurai looks recently, or samurai-based looks for sure. Right. And this is sort of like one with sort of like that, you see sort of like the sort of demon, Eastern demon look, and it has that sort of look in the helmet. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, it does look cool.
Then they started talking about the changes to costs, and so this is Joe DiMaggio, and this is credit inflow and sync changes. So what they were talking about is new taxes for secure trade, mail, cash on delivery. So all these things that really haven't had taxes on them before, they're based on credit value and also some on item values. And what we've seen now in the PTS is they're still working out the kinks and the details on this. They also want feedback on this, because they're trying to figure out like what really shouldn't be taxed. Because apparently, like, a fair number of, say, like med packs change hands if you're on an operations group,
right?
Especially if it's like a guild operations group. And if they tax that, it kind of sucks because you're just being friendly and getting the operation going. It's not really about like, oh, here's 100 million credits worth of of med packs or whatever it is. So they do want more feedback on like what feels like bad or unfair if it gets taxed and when. They're also trying to work out the kinks on exactly how to value them, because in the past, the only values they've really been able to attach to anything is like the vendor value, and that's way out of whack for most of the important things in the game. Yeah,
so out of whack.
It's crazy. So they're working on different ways to value it based on like how it's selling on the GTN. But then even then, they have to be very careful because like, what happens if an item sells very rarely, or at wildly different prices or whatever. So they are, they want feedback. That is one of the important things on the public test server that they definitely want checked out. There's also going to be just a general GTN overhaul. They are hoping for increased usability to make finding what you want easier, and also market data that will help folks reach fair prices with a shift to a commodity market using buy orders. So this, if they do in fact activate buy orders, this is going to really be a change to the GTN, because GTN right now is very much put up an auction item for the price you ask. If they don't sell it, then it comes back to you, and after however long. The buy orders would then be the opposite. The idea behind that would be like, okay, I'm willing to buy, like the purple med packs, but only if it's, this price or better. And then, people will either fill it or not. So interesting.
That is very interesting.
Yeah, it certainly does sound a lot more like a commodity market, especially for things like med packs and stims and other things that actually do get used and are bought and sold in bulk. So that could be very, very interesting. Adjustments to the buyout price limit. Well, I assume that only means adjustments upward, because I don't think anyone wants it.
Do you think it's going to go over $1 billion?
I guess it almost has to. I can't imagine it going anywhere else, or what else they would do with it. So
I don't know.
But also adjustments to taxes with a progressive scale based on price. So that's also, but it's also going to be based, the taxes and adjustment to the taxes. So it's based on two things. There's going to be like a base cost based on kind of what it is and how it's selling for, so maybe it's like a gold armor set, and if it sells for like 50 million, well, maybe it has one tax price or whatever. But then it's also the adjustments or taxes are going to happen based on progressive scale based on price. So if you happen to sell something for a lot more, then the tax is going to go up. Presumably not just, not like the actual percentage, not just the amount, per 100,000 is going to stay the same, but actually that would go up as well. It sounds like it anyway. It's hard to know for sure exactly how it's going to all shake out. But yeah, so going forward, they hope that credits will be the primary driver of the in-game economy, and the GTN should be the center of the economy. So there you go.
Yeah, because I know that there were people that were selling, I guess it would be trading, but they were trading things for cartel packs.
Right.
So
yeah, a lot of folks
instead
apparently,
of having credits,
yeah, they'll trade for for the hyper crates or for the individual packs, and certain other very expensive items as well, like black dyes, stuff like that. So they're gonna basically they're gonna figure out some assumed value of all these sort of like trade items, and then that will be, that will cause the tax to be based on that. So
interesting. It's very interesting.
They're
going deep.
They're going deep, and it definitely, this will definitely impact the economy in all kinds of ways. It should definitely have a lowering effect on prices.
That's cool.
I've been noticing like the prices to some degree have been going down anyway. Certainly in terms of like the bronze and silver and so on, like the armor sets and so on. And I think that's simply a demand and supply thing, because we're getting a lot more supply because of Galactic Seasons. People are able to get these sets, and now once if they already have them unlocked, or they just don't care to, or whatever, they put it on the GTN. And because a lot of people are doing seasons, and it's pretty easy to get crates, especially since they've adjusted it so it's fewer cartel coins and more crates. There's a lot of sets out there, and they're definitely going for less than they were even a season or two ago, I've noticed. So yeah.
I've noticed that a lot of people are piecing out the sets themselves. Instead of selling them all in one package, they're selling the parts individually.
Okay.
For crazy amounts of money.
I hadn't
because
noticed
with the
that.
unlock
Right.
going on, I've been going on there to pick up some stuff that I don't have.
Right.
Some of it's just out of spite, I would pay real money for it instead of giving someone the money that they're asking for.
So they're acting like 1 billion per part of the set.
Yeah, per part.
Maybe the idea is like the set is probably worth more than $1 billion, so they're piecing it out because they want the total to be over $1 billion. Essentially, is that what you're getting at? Okay.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, whenever I'm looking for a set nowadays, I always look for the set.
You look for what?
I actually put the word set in when
I do
when I'm doing it, and so I don't really see these pieced ones very often, unless once in a while I'll see it. But yeah, it makes sense though. I mean, especially for the really expensive sets, like the ones right off the cartel market.
Oh yeah,
it really should be it really should be more than $1 billion for some of those, because that's a lot of stuff. Yeah, they cost a lot, set. And they're hard to get otherwise. So yeah.
It's crazy.
All right. There was also a sneak peek of cartel items, nightlife rewards, and community update rewards. Oh. Yeah. So the Hermit's Vigil is the small pistol, and that one really does look a lot. It looks very Blade Runner-y. I believe that's the one, or maybe it's the CP2 Briar pistol. Anyway, one of them looks very Blade Runner-y. They both looked really good from what I remember, but one of them was very, very Blade Runner-y. Which is cool. But like I said, there is a kind of a Blade Runner-y one in the game. I cannot remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's a platinum level one, and I already have it unlocked, and so I'm using that one. Nightlife event, they did say when it's coming.
Cool.
July 11th, going to come for 6 weeks. That sounds about typical for Nightlife event.
I believe it's here again already.
The new one of the new high-end items will be the High Roller Skiff, and yeah, skiffs are kind of fun. They're not my favorite type of speeder, but they're definitely fun, and like it has that sort of air of opulence. So it makes sense that it would come with the High Roller or with a Nightlife event. So I'm sure some people will be looking for that, and who knows what else there might be. They didn't really mention anything else, but there could be other. Every once in a while, they do throw in like a new few weapons or set of armor or whatever, or pet or whatever. So they weren't really able to tell us about for the community mount, but at some point, there were heavy hints that they're looking at jetpacks. So we can't guarantee that there'll be a jetpack available from the community folks, like the OotiniCast and KittyKiss's stream and all the other wonderful community creators out there. But it seems to be very likely that it's going to be something jetpack related, which is cool. That's definitely a type of speeder that I don't have a lot of, and definitely like. I really love the HK one, and whenever I use one, I always use that one, because like the other jetpacks in the game are a little clunky. They tend to be very big. And they're not. That's not really to my taste, really, personally. And the HK one is by far the smallest one that I have access to. And it's one of the smallest ones in the game as well, anyway, period. So it'll be interesting to see what it looks like and what, does it have a flare and all that sort of stuff. But
any jetpacks.
But any jetpack is at least a fun jetpack for sure.
Especially with the Mandalorian and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Jetpacks are very vogue right now.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, a lot of Mandalorian stuff going on. So they've been celebrating May the 4th. So the BX-23 mini pet droid, and we've got double XP. Some of the stuff has already passed, but the double XP is still going on. That's going on one more week, so till the 18th. 50% collections also till the 18th. Yay. And so that's really cool. I didn't really talk about that on my week, but I burned down all my cartel coins to do unlocks, and then I actually went and spent real money and bought some cartel coins, and
there you go,
burned it all down again on unlocks. So I've done like 12,000 cartel coins worth of unlocks.
Holy crap!
Yeah, and I still have more. I still have quite a bit more that I could unlock, but I can't.
There's always more to unlock.
Exactly, there's a lot more to unlock. So, but I still got a lot of really cool stuff unlocked. So I'm really happy with it. What did I get? I got I got some more of the cartel companions. I like having those around. Some of them feel more and more. I'm trying to, because I've seen the class stories enough. I don't necessarily feel obligated to have like a particular class companion out all the time. So sometimes it's better to have either a creature or a droid who actually fits sort of thematically. And so I got a lot of those unlocked. I did get. I got some other nice stuff too unlocked. Go ahead, Kitty.
Yeah, you need those when your companions that can go and do crafting stuff are out, and you pop the ones that can't anyway.
Right. And just bring them along. Yep.
Yeah, let's go.
There's some really nice. There's some really fun ones too. Like I actually just bought off the GTN, and so I could unlock it. I got the one that's based on the Iocath droid, the little sort of like thin little Iocath droid. Yeah.
Technolith looking thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I also got the it's called the A7 something droid, and it's like this very small one with a couple of like little arms, and it looks. I think I'm going to use that one for Deckard, just because it has to be on passive anyway. So that one kind of feels a little Blade Runner-y to me. So I'm looking forward to that.
I had a cosplay character that he was a superhero, and he had the cape and of course the super tight underwear and a mask. And I made that droid his photographer.
Oh, nice.
Because it kind of looks like a camera.
Yeah, he does look camera.
I see that, I think of that character.
Right. Like, it might even have it might even have some sort of probe or scout or recon or something like that in the name too. Yeah, because you're right. Like the main body of it it's fairly small, and then it's got a couple arms, and then it's like got one big lens eye in the middle of it. Yeah. That's pretty cool. All right, so PTS is opening and has opened now. PTS is basically all the new stuff that they're planning on having in 7.3 except for the story. So for the most part, you can kind of avoid a lot of the spoilers if you do go and test. If you're like me and extra sensitive to it, though, it still might be a little bit of an issue. But yeah, a lot of interesting stuff on the PTS right now. And then, so let's see. There was, at the time, there was no talk about the APAC test server or no mention of whether there'd be a Vos stronghold, which I think would be an interesting question to ask as well. Cool. And it kind of makes sense because they've already, even before all the ones that they mentioned here, there's been a fair number of Vos-themed decos over the years anyway. So it'd be fun to have a Vos stronghold for sure.
Yeah, I would really like to see a dark side kind of stronghold, something that is would be more Sith-like, and they could potentially do that on Vos because of the Dark Heart.
Do like a Dark Heart stronghold,
like a basement that's all.
That's actually an interesting idea. Yeah,
creepy. Yeah,
I like that idea. Yeah, or maybe it's like up above, it's more normal, and then has a basement, and it's like all creepy tentacles and roots. Yeah, and like weird gooey pools of glowing ooze and all that stuff that they have down there.
Some weird Sith.
I love that idea.
I think it would be cool.
That would be very cool.
I know that in my chat, people talk about they're wanting to see some sort of dark side force looking strongholds.
Yeah. So we don't know that there will be a Vos stronghold, but it would be. This is pure speculation, but it would be a lot of fun. Yeah. So let's see. There was also the BD1 pet. This one, unfortunately, was only through May the 3rd, so that one is already passed. But if you did log in between April 28th, and to the May 3rd, then there's a little JR-4 recon droid based on BD1. And it is similar to the last one that they did when the previous, when the previous game came out.
That's right. I forgot.
Yeah. So there's two of them now. So, and they're very similar actually. This one I did bring them out and kind of look at them. Very, very similar. Slight differences in the coloration, and I think there was one or two detail changes as well, but very, very minor. And if you use the tip of the week that we got a few shows ago, then what you do is put one of them on random, bring that one out randomly, and then bring out the other one on purpose, and you can have two of them out.
Yep.
All right. And then there's also the other mini pet, the sort of the green box one, which is actually really cool. And
I like those ones.
Yeah, and then Jackie got like a little model of it. She was given by one of the designers who sort of figured out.
Great.
That was really nice. Yeah, that was really cool. And all right, so we've already talked about the test server, so we'll get past that. They've actually even put out a post of an update to the PTS, so the PTS has in fact been updated again.
Oh, cool.
They've put in a bunch of things that they know need fixing, including some pretty serious ones that tells you like there's going to be a little while before this is really ready to go. But also some bug fix, so it's all good. They're all not just finding bugs, they're also fixing them. And so the PTS, if you are on the PTS, you might actually need to there might be yet another update to it. There is a bug going out for some people. The launcher is resetting. In other words, like it just won't let you into the game. It'll just reset itself over and over again. And so so they did a little post to sort of let you know like what they found as sort of a workaround. They're sort of looking into the bug as well. But if the launcher is caught in a loop, then wait a few minutes to see if the launcher updates and fixes itself. If this does not happen, then you go further. You can download the SWTOR installer, and there's a link, and I would go to SWTOR.com and find this post in order to get it. It's in the show notes, but
I'll put it in chat.
Okay. You run it, you click on repair. They give you a little picture of what it looks like. It basically brings up a little repair button, so you just hit repair and then do next and go from there. You go to if that doesn't work, then there's a step 3 where you go to your installation directory, delete the 2 files that end with metafile.json. That should trigger an update that will look for the most recent launcher release. And then if none of the above steps fix the issue, unfortunately, you have to uninstall and reinstall the game. So, not fun if it goes to that, but yeah. For players who are seeing a host_window load timeout error message, we record stopping the game on the task manager and restarting your machine. So
actually, you know what? I'm sorry, was that for Test Center launcher, or was that for the general?
As I understand, it's launcher? For just the general launcher. Some people are just having this issue.
So Kitty's disappeared too. And what we did to fix it is we went into her game files, and there should be a launcher in there as well.
Okay.
You won't be able to find it anywhere else, but we found it in there.
Okay.
And just double click it in there, and it should that might work too.
Do it from there rather than from a redirect from your desktop or whatever.
That's right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, I wonder why that would make any difference.
I don't know.
That is bizarre, but whatever works. That's another potential workaround. Thank you, Kitty.
Yeah.
And let's see. Taxes on the PTS. So we already talked about a fair bit about this, but this is some of the things that they're looking for on the PTS when it comes to the taxes. Are there any items that are not taxed that should be? Are there any items that are taxed that should not be? Have you run into any bugs? And if so, please offer step-by-step details so we can reproduce your experience. And is there any other general feedback to share about the functionality? So, so they are looking for what feels fair versus unfair is sort of what they're getting at. Let's see. So to more closely match the intent, we're changing the values, the base values, to be based on the median GTN value and only applying the conversion for cartel market items that were either not on the GTN data or traded near the cap and have a value that exceeds the cap. The conversion was also adjusted based on higher volume items that have a cartel coin value to more accurately represent the current economic environment in trade. This should end up looking a bit more fair, as the tax won't be as subject to the potential price volatility you will see in the market, and the conversion only affects the rare items or items that have a cartel coin value but are low volume trades. And it is worth noting in both cases, the previous data and current data is limited by time frame and volume to ensure we're not putting unnecessarily high values on items that seldom sell. This means, however, there will be gaps in this iteration. Less items will have a tax value. When overhaul is put into place, it will be completely GTN driven, minus some exceptions like the one I'm going into next. An additional aspect we're going to adjust here is removing item trade / mail tax for some gameplay-focused items like med packs, grenades, and so on. Please let us know if you encounter any taxes that feel out of place with this new PTS. So they are sort of trying to get rid of some of the ones that are sort of just, gameplay related.
Right.
I like that idea cool. Because,
I do too.
Because that's usually something that's done between friends, or often might be between friends. It doesn't have to be between friends, but, but at least often it is, so it's nice that there won't be a tax for that. Guild transfers are something we'll be monitoring very closely. It's possible we may impose some additional restrictions in the future, but we would like to keep guild transfers tax-free. This would allow folks who play together regularly to prepare for operations, giving things to friends, and so on. So they're aware that it's possible that people could use, guild banks and guild trade essentially to sort of avoid taxes. They're aware that's a possibility, but they're hoping to not have to tax that, and we'll see. Yeah, let's see. There's another bug, the signal option tooltip bug. In other words, the one that lets you know what your lag number is. Yeah, they call it the signal option tooltip. And it's the one that you have to choose to have it, but it basically shows up near your mini map or in that little bar, basically. However, it was displayed outside of the visible area if the mini map is positioned on the bottom side of the screen. So there was a bug with that. People were wondering where it went. Well, that's where it went. There's a bug where if the mini map is on the bottom part of the screen, it just doesn't show up. So that's what's going on with that. If that happened to you. There's another bug I'd like to mention as well, because it affects people for Galactic Seasons. There's an objective, Heart of Ruin for Galactic Season as a weekly objective, but it's only giving the additional 3 points. You need to do 4 world bosses. However, you can do it with 1 world boss, the Colossal Monolith, because you get 3 extra bonus points for doing that particular one. The problem is, right now it's bugged where it only gives the additional 3 points to the player who gives the last hit. So yeah, affects both factions and all difficulties. So yeah, there we go. So yeah, so just be aware that unfortunately Colossal Monolith is not going to be the easy way for a whole group of people to get that season objective. Unfortunately, until they figured out that bug.
Yeah, that sounds like original Dungeons and Dragons XP rules.
Yes.
The last person to get the hit gets all the XP. It was
That's
rough
right.
in the early 80s.
Yep. I think this is on the PTS. The Sniper Gunslinger, since you and I, Kitty, have both played one recently, I thought it was kind of funny. The knockback for series of shots or speed shot, as well as penetrating blasts or penetrating rounds, has been moved to sniper pillbox or lay low instead of ruthless efficiency / efficient ammo. So yeah, so like there was a and I think I actually took it because I was getting the knockback, so from sniper pillbox, and it does something else as well. But apparently the knockback part they're going to move over to ruthless efficiency, which I'm not sure. I saw this sort of right before the show, and I didn't go back into the game to figure out which exactly one that was. But apparently they're moving the knockback. So hopefully, I'm hoping that once it gets moved, that it will make kind of sense. Where I would hope, since that's a CC thing, that that's sort of like a PvP or CC related choice. But we'll see. Dev notes, after looking through the feedback and seeing some data from PTS, we found that the knockback changes synergize better on sniper pillbacks, lay low over ruthless efficient ammo for both PvE and PvP players. So there you go. So that's what they feel it's going to work.
Go.
And hopefully that will in fact be the case. Power Tech and Vanguard. Energize Van Brace. Gaining an energy load stack increases the damage on retractable blade or guts bleed and increases the damage of magnetic blast or tactical surge. 5% for 10 seconds. Stacks up to 4 times. And then prototype weapons. I'm not sure what the original one was though. Prototype weapon systems and havoc training increases the critical strike damage bonus of rocket punch, rail shot, magnetic blast, retractable blade, thermal detonator, and energy burst by 15%, up from 10%. So that one we do know. So it goes up by 5%. And for critical strike damage bonus for quite a few abilities. So yeah, so the PowerTech Vanguard will be critting a little harder if that goes through.
Such a great, I love the rocket punch. It feels so good.
It really does, doesn't it?
And it makes the greatest noise.
The ka-chonk. Yeah. Ka-pow. And your whole character goes right off it goes right up into the air. It's great. Yeah.
Super punch.
Mm-hmm. I mean, other than death from but there's a few other abilities that feel just as good, but it's one of the few that's like melee that really feels
especially if you can kill something or someone on that, and it's just like
really nailing them. And then Galactic Starfighter not being added to PvP seasons at this time. So they've been looking apparently at adding it because GSF is right now, war zones and arenas are sort of in the PvP seasons, but GSF doesn't have anything of its own. Hey everyone, thanks for your feedback regarding the addition of Galactic Starfighter to the PvP season track. The team has taken a look at the issues you've raised surrounding the current state of Galactic Starfighter, such as medals, objective kill gap, and bugs. After evaluating this feedback, we've come to the conclusion that GSF is not in a good position to be added to the PvP seasons track at this time. Thank you again for your constructive feedback regarding the change. We'll continue to monitor PvP seasons and your feedback to improve it going forward. So, unfortunately, if you're a GSF fan, that's not a good sign because it would definitely add a lot of players to the GSF if it was in the PvP seasons. And in fact, for example, I've been doing some PvP, not massive amounts of PvP, but I've been doing more than my usual amount of PvP because of seasons, but I haven't been doing any GSF, and even though I like it when I do it. So I wish there was a little bit. Like I said, and I'll quote it again, come to the conclusion that GSF is not in a good position to be added to the PvP seasons track at this time. So they are leaving it open for it to be added later, maybe, but they're not really being clear about exactly why it's not in a good position. Like, is it because of the skill gap or the, because there's also like a ship leveling up process that goes on. Is it because of that? Is it because of the skill gap? Is it the other things that they mentioned? I'm not sure.
Who knows? It could be so many different things. It could be that the way the GSF is set up now, it would be easier to get the medals, and then people would all flock.
Would all do GSF and never do any regular PvP.
Probably need to balance it out so that
it's possible.
The difficulty is about the same.
Right. Yeah. So I would welcome it as part of the PvP seasons for sure. It is a form of PvP. It's just not the usual one. And it is very, very special to SWTOR for sure. I would like to see that, and it would definitely give me more of an incentive to do it more.
I agree, and people that do the Galactic Seasons PvP, some of them are really, really good at it. Really good at it. So it's kind of fun to watch people kill you and go, oh, that's how you play that. That's how you do that.
Yeah.
I strongly recommend getting in there and trying it out more than once because there is a learning curve. But once you start getting the learning curve down a little bit better, you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see, a couple more bugs that I would like to mention. The Mechshaw Stronghold Starship hook is not visible in editing mode, for some people at least. Yeah.
For me,
and for me too, I think it's pretty common or possibly almost universal. But yeah,
man.
But it is supposed to be there. Like if you're on like the little patio and you look down at the corner where there's that big flat area just outside the rest of your stronghold. Yes, that is supposed to have a starship hook on it for you. But it is not visible in editing mode for apparently at least a lot of people. But they know about it. So
that's awesome though.
And it sounds like, yeah. And usually when they acknowledge it like that, that pretty much also guarantees that they're also trying to figure it out too.
Because that thing needs a nice big ship in there.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Yeah.
Atmosphere.
Yep, for sure. Let's see. The Warzone and Arena scoreboard is not sorting properly. It's something that I've noticed a lot when I do it myself. Basically, what I notice, at least the way I experience the bug is you can sort it, and then as people leave the Warzone, because usually you're doing this at the end of the Warzone, you're not usually looking up the number. You can technically look up the numbers like between rounds or whatever. So there are times, when you're bringing up the stats in other cases, but usually you bring up the stats at the end, partly because they kind of come up anyway. But what happens is as people leave, they resort it in this really weird way. So yeah, so it's like you're trying to figure out if you did the most damage or not, and you sort it, and it's like, okay, where was I? And then it resorts itself, and you got to hit it again, and then someone else leaves, and you got to resort it again.
Yeah.
And
of course, people are constantly leaving.
Yeah, exactly. So it resorts. Yeah, exactly. And eventually it'll kind of quiet down. Usually you can get it after a while, but it's really it's a little silly. And it is happening on both war zones and arenas. So they know that this is happening, and they are working on that one as well.
A funny one.
Yeah. So yeah. And then Eric did do a follow-up on both Master Mode, which was something that people were asking about in chat apparently during the stream, as well as follow-up to the Shea Vizsla test server, the APAC test server, and which they also said is a cloud-based test server. So where is Master Mode R4? In short, Master Mode R4 is not on our roadmap. The priorities for our Encounters team right now is focused on making more impactful, engaging bosses and story content, delivering flashpoints in all modes with modern boss mechanics, and making additional challenging eight-player encounters. Now, all of that said, I want to express that we very much understand how critical aspirational endgame group content is, whether that's delivered through Master Mode flashpoints, world and lair bosses, or even ops. So is it still something we will prioritize as it is still something we will prioritize as part of our roadmap going forward. So in other words, Master Mode R4 is not really on the roadmap right now. They do want it to come back though.
Yeah.
It's not a huge amount of consolation if you're, if you're like already an advanced operations person, but yeah, at least we know where their head's at. Any follow-up from the Shea Vizsla PTS? Again, thank you for your participation and feedback. We have a lot of data and commentary to chew on before making a decision on what comes next for a possible APAC or fresh start server. That said, Shea Vizsla was also another scale test for us having our servers in the cloud, and so this test also helps drive us towards the goal of getting our service and our servers all onto AWS.
Wow.
So cloud, yeah, which would be cool. Like I said, on a more personal level, we're both West Coast, and it would be really cool to have the cloud server come back and be West Coast orientated so that we can actually have the, because once upon a time I had like a 20 ping. It was like 22, 26 ping, something like that. Then they moved it all back east, and it's been 86 or so ever since for me personally. And, that's understandable. It's going across the country. But if they could bring it back and it was a cloud server but it was centered on the West Coast, then we could potentially have, back to 20 some odd ping or something like that, which would be nice.
That'd be awesome.
Now, most of the time you're not going to know, if you're just doing solo stuff, whatever, you're usually not going to notice a ping difference of that much. But if you're doing like difficult, flashpoints and operations, and you really need to get out of that circle exactly, at the right time, or if you're doing PvP for sure as well, ping differences definitely make a difference there for sure.
Yeah.
And Eric also says, nothing specific to announce on timing or specifics, but know that there's a lot happening behind the scenes on these efforts. We'll communicate more when we can.
It's very exciting. I'm very excited about that. It's just so nice to see that they're moving the game moving it forward, which is great.
Hey, Skogan's asking in chat, do you think it'll increase the performance in any way? Talking about the cloud servers, and hopefully less rubber banding in PvP. Yeah. Well, if you're already East Coast and you already have the 20 odd ping or less or whatever, you're probably not going to notice. Yeah, it's not going to get any better. But if you're West Coast or whatever, you're just playing somewhere where it's a little further away, you definitely could notice a difference. Like I noticed when I was playing on the Apex server, as well as I do a little bit of stuff on the European servers for Galactic Seasons, and I do notice sometimes that it acts a little differently. For example, I have a couple of I have one sniper character that I have been doing stuff on for Galactic Seasons. It's on a European server and it has about 160 ping there, so it's even, it's roughly twice as much even as it is for the US. And rolling into cover is really rough. There's something about ping. It really screws up the cover mechanic, especially if you're rolling into cover. Because I think what's happening is like your character is moving and the game is showing you on your end where it thinks the roll will happen, but it may not be happening. And then it just doesn't work at all. It's very, very buggy because of that. So there, at least in some circumstances, definitely you'll notice a difference if they put a cloud server in your area and you get a much lower ping. There'll definitely be times when you notice it for sure. And like I say, it's more important if in PvP and stuff like that. So there's a fair bit of like Star Wars Disney Plus stuff coming out that we haven't really hit on too hard recently, or has come out in the last couple of weeks. So there's like a whole like teaser trailer with Jude Law for Skeleton Crew. That'll be interesting. Yeah, Jude Law's a fun actor, so I'm looking forward to that, I guess. The season 3 for Bad Batch, there was a nice little, if you look, there's a nice little message that the actors put out about how season 3 is going to be coming up. That's going to be really fun.
I can't wait.
Yeah, and apparently that will be the last season too.
They announced that.
Yeah. There was some talk about Ahsoka, but I tried to kind of avoid that one because it sounded a little spoilery, so I tried to actually avoid that one. But apparently there's some new Ahsoka information out there if you want it.
Watch out.
Yeah.
Stay out of the light, Carol Ann.
Right. And finally, something that we've touched on before, but it's actually happening now. The EA exclusivity for Star Wars games is ending. It basically has ended at this point. So basically there are, but what's happening behind the scenes is, of course, everyone knew the exclusivity was ending. They sort of announced that it was going to end, like they weren't re-upping it. So other companies, will have already been starting to work on other games. So it doesn't mean that the work starts now. It means that, they can start releasing things now. So you're going to start seeing other companies put out Star Wars games relatively soon. It should not matter very much, if at all, for SWTOR. Like, this really should not affect SWTOR in any way, as far as I can tell. And if a dev is listening right now and actually wants to clarify that in some way, I'd love to know more. But I don't think they would say anything different either, because in the past, whenever they've talked about it, it's like it's like the exclusivity thing doesn't really affect them. It never has, and now that it's ending, it still won't. The only thing that would affect it is if Lucas decided to somehow like put its foot down and say nothing, no more sets, nothing else you do can be set in the Old Republic, and you've got to stop. Like, if they did that, then yes, that would affect SWTOR, but that's not what this is. So that,
and especially it seems like that they're moving forward. They're adding a lot of stuff to the game, and at Celebration Europe, they announced on their little timeline they had Star Wars The Old Republic in there.
Yeah. And also, moving to cloud servers and improving the service, changing it. They just changed it to a 64-bit client after more than 10 years, 10 or 11 years of the game plus development time in 32-bit. And now it's 64-bit. you don't do this sort of thing,
Nope.
for a game that you're gonna give up on it in the next few months. This is just still a long-term project for them for sure.
Yes, it is.
And there's no reason that the exclusivity ending is going to affect SWTOR in any meaningful way, as far as I can tell. So
yeah, and with that ending, as a Star Wars fans, the possibility is that we're gonna just have more stuff to play, more stuff to check out. So
that's gonna be fun.
It's win-win.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. Anything else, Kitty?
Not that I can think of, no.
Okay. Then that's a show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Satil Shan server, or in our
Utini Rage
Guild on the Empire side, do a /C join Utini to join the Utini channel, then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to utinicast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using at OotiniCast, or Mastodon at OotiniCast@mastodon.world. You can find contact details for us on our website, OotiniCast.com, which includes how to subscribe using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. We record the show live bi-weekly. It used to be Tuesdays. We are now moving that officially to Wednesdays. It works better for us, so we're going with that. Still 4 p.m. Pacific, still every other week, and we stream it at twitch.tv/OotiniCast. Our theme song is Doomsday by Jean-Paul Zogby, and thank you to the chat room, and also watch the space. So assuming everything goes well, you'll hear something in about a week, and we are looking forward to hopefully announcing something in about a week. So
it's going to be pretty cool if it happens.
Yep. And if it doesn't, we won't ever bring it up again. No. Anyway, so thank you for coming.
Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful couple weeks, and we'll see you then.
All right. And Kitty, is there a channel I should be doing the raid?
Let me look real quick. Oops, wrong button. Yeah, Kitten Cog.
Okay.
KITTENCOG.
Oh, yep. It looks like one's OotiniCast is following already. Perfect. And so thank you for everyone for coming. And yes, we're very hopefully excited. So you know what I mean? Hopeful and excited. And
yeah,
believe me, if it comes through, you'll be hopeful and excited too, I'm sure. So thank you for coming. Let's go raid Kitten Cog.
Bye, everybody.
All right. And stopping the stream, stopping the recording.